True Kingsden back again with another video. I figured since part 1 was really fun to make of this, and going off the reception I seen at the time I took this photo, a lot of people enjoyed this video, and I heard the criticism, stuff like that, so I'm going to be a bit more demonstrative with it and try to describe things a bit better going forward. This is going to be part 2 of cool unique fighting game mechanics for character specific, so we're not talking about universal game mechanics. I do want to talk about that, but we'll get to that at a different point. But the reason I want to do this again, for the most part, is, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of characters that were left out, and I'm trying to keep it to 5 per video. But I did have to go back in, and I'm going to be including more games. It's going to be some more, risque games, I guess, for people that play fighting games is the best way to describe it. So you might think one of these entries is weird, but I feel like this could be done in an actual, more normal fighting game, and it would be sick. But you'll know which entry that is when I get there. Let's just begin. Valentine from Skullgirls with her syringes. First things first, Valentine is a 10 out of 10 design. She's a ninja nurse. On top of that, she throws red crosses for shurikens. She uses that IV coat rack, I do not know the name of that thing, as a freaking staff. And she uses a bone saw for her sword. There's a lot of other stuff she uses, like stethoscopes and stuff like that. But on top of all the creativity they did with her moveset, she's just the best girl in the game, bar none. But when it comes to her syringes, that's what we're here for today. And her syringes have 3 different effects, and they're all cool. Well, one is kind of generic now. One is literally just poison. She throws it at you, and you're currently poisoned. You take damage for the next 10 seconds. The second one applies more hit stun on you, and when you have more hit stun on you, it just means you can take more damage basically, because you're going to be able to get comboed more. Things that normally would never combo will be able to combo going forward once you have that one on you. And the last one, I can't really demonstrate it by myself. I would need somebody else, and I can't find a match, so yeah. But the third one would, actually that one's just hard to demonstrate in general, but the third one would be freaking hit lag, or lag itself. It applies lag to you, or delay if you want to call it that. So all that means is, if you try to do a move, or if you try to block a mix-up, if I go behind you and you try to block to the right, you're gonna have to block earlier than normal, because you pressing right is gonna be delayed, or any button you press, anything like that, is gonna automatically have a certain amount of frames of delay. And the scariest part about her is she can stack these things. You can't mix 2 together, but you can stack the effects of one to amplify it. So the poison one, you can make it do more damage if you do the syringe charge twice, or the syringe load twice. And then you can stack it up to 3 times. So you can have more hit stun if you do 3 of those, or more lag on the opponent. I would say, if I had to rank the order of them, I think lag overall is the weakest one, because poison is just free unscaled damage. And then when it comes, I think there's a way to combo after it too, but like I said, I don't get to play this game that often, and I already suck at it, so you ain't gonna see that from me. But the hit stun one is cool, because you get crazy. I'm like, for example, 3 lights into a crouching heavy kick, 3 light punches, a crouching heavy kick normally doesn't combo. But if you have the hit stun syringe on, even at the first charge of it, it'll start comboing. So with that, for some reason, I don't know why they did this. I guess it's just gimmicky. You can't combo into it or anything. But for some reason, her loading the syringe has a hitbox on it. So if you try to anti or jump in at her when she's loading it, it might just knock you back. It's just a funny little stupid thing they gave her. But I will say, I think she's one of the coolest characters in the game. And I think that syringe mechanic is so lit with the way it works. They put a lot more into it than I thought they would. I thought it was just going to be poison. But that's why Valentine's on this list. Hakan from Street Fighter 4 with oil. Bruh. First off, it sounds like we on the hub right now, but we not. And second off, Capcom be going crazy with the designs randomly, or a lot of these devs. I'm like, I live to see freaking disgusting freaks of nature put into a fighting game for some reason. And Hakan is so cool, bruh. Hakan is a Turkish oil wrestler. So they said, you know what, let's slap some barnacles on his head, turn his skin red. I'm guessing from the oil in the hot sun. I don't know why his skin is red. And let's call it a day and make a character around it. So he's a grappler, But the main mechanic we're talking about here is his oil mechanic. So, if you don't know, right now, he wasn't like this at first, but Hakan, when round starts, he has oil on him. And you can use a certain button. There's a certain input, it's his DP input, with kicks. He will pour more oil on himself. Now, what does the oil you do, you're thinking? Oh, what does it do? It makes him slippery? Literally that, and other things. So, the oil's main things about it is, during his focus attack, which is a like 2-second attack where you have to charge it up, 2 to 3 second attack, then it becomes unblockable. He is the only character that can move while his is going. He can slide forward or backwards during it. And then on top of that, when you dash cancel it, there's something called focus attack dash canceling, which is a way to make moves safe, but usually not plus. For him, it will always be plus plus. He can cancel his dash into normals while he's oiled up. And then on top of that, his special moves do more damage while he's like that, while he's oiled up. And the last thing I have to say about him is certain attacks get more range. Like his staple combo move is a slide across the screen that lets him put more oil on or just cash out for more damage. But in this case, you can legit just do the slide, get yourself a knockdown, and then just go for some mix, probably go for a grab, or you can oil up and do it again, and it gets more range. And then on top of that, it goes full screen and it's projectile invincible on the EX1. No, I feel like oil had to be on the list because who else was just pouring oil on themselves mid-fight, ready to beat? Oh, I love him. I love him. Sir Night-Eye, My Hero One's Justice 2 with Clairvoyance. Now, if you can't tell yet, this is clearly going to be the weird entry because some people don't see these obviously as fighting games, but I felt like specifically My Hero One's Justice 2 has enough depth to be considered like more, I guess, competitive in a sense. There were a few tournaments way back when the game first came out. It has a little bit of depth to it. I'm not going to go into the details on the game today though. The reason I had to put him here, even if you don't count it as a true fighting game, which I understand if you don't, you have to say this is a cool idea that could have been implemented in a real fighting game. I don't know if it will be broken or not, but what Sir Night-Eye can do is he has a counter attack that triggers his quirk to activate, which even in the show it's the same thing. I was wondering how they're going to do this. In the show, he can see into the future. So the way they make this work is when he lands his counter, he just does some damage and throws you away, and you see his eyes start glowing. Once his eye is glowing, anytime you try to attack him, if it's a range attack, if it's an attack that can reach him, basically it'll show a clone, it'll be like a purple clone of the person you're fighting, will do the attack, and it will slow down time so you can react to what's happening. It will literally project the clone from the future doing it, and then you can decide what's your next course of action. If you're not doing anything and you're just in a neutral state, you can try to dodge it, you can block it, but it also combos with a different move he has, which he has an attack that is invincible. He goes sliding across the ground, and it can slip behind people, so if you see the game slow down, you can just slip behind and punish and get a full combo. I felt like in this game, since the move set is pretty limited, there's not much you can do. It's either that, or you can see the color of the person glowing to know what their attack is, if it's an unblockable or armored attack sign, or if it's a normal attack, and if you see it, you can use your armored attack to beat theirs before it comes out, or like I said, just get out of dodge. Like I said, there's not much to talk about on Sir Night because of the game he's in, but I feel like this would be so cool to be implemented in a 2D or a typical 3D game. Just to see how they handle it. If it is, let me know, but I can't think of anywhere I've seen it. Shinko, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the character as a whole. Now, this one might be seen as cheating because I didn't name a specific mechanic of the character or anything like that, but I think you'll understand what I'm talking about because there's at least 4 things to go over when it comes to her. Number 1, her ground dash, unlike everybody else's, it's not like this hasn't been seen in other games, but her ground dash is a teleport. It can actually cross over, it has invincibility frames, all of that stuff. It's not just for flair. It's slow on startup, but she actually does a full-on teleport. She just has a normal walk animation, then she appears in front of you, or appears a set distance away. Next, her air dash is weird too, which this character is known for her low mobility as part of it, and one of her supers, which we'll get to. But Her air dash looks weird too, but besides it just being slow, she's actually just running on the air. So she runs very slowly across the air, and there's uses for it because you pretty much can't cross over people. But overall, it's definitely a bad air dash. But I feel like those two are definitely, like, her dashing is unique, but it plays to her bad mobility. And she has one of the only things, I don't think I've seen this in another fighting game, but she has a projectile that rejects other projectiles or reflects them. It's called Hengoki, if I remember correctly. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. But she just smacks it going and she sends out a shockwave that moves really slow. It is a projectile. If it hits someone, if it touches them, there will be hit and go on a hit stun like standard. It's actually good for loops and infinite combos. But on top of it, if a projectile hits it, it literally just bounces it back. Unless it's obviously a beam. I think it just eats some of the beam. So it's one of the better projectiles, especially as an anti-zoning tool. And then she has a projectile she throws that just changes. It can be thrown 3 different angles, nothing special there. But there's more of the projectiles she can throw. She has one that speaks for some reason. She has something that can stun you. Then she has a projectile that's a bomb. After a certain amount of time explodes and can hit both players. And the 2 more things I want to talk about, she has a move called Senpubu where she just spins on the chain. And when she does this attack, for some reason it depends on mashing, but if you mash fast enough, she can pass through the opponent, then come back in front of them, or you would just go behind them. I'm used to seeing moves that go cross over behind opponents. I'm not used to moves that come back in front of them after you pass behind them. And then on top of that, being able to choose depending on if you decide to mash. And the last thing we're going to talk about is one of her supers. I don't know the name of it, but she goes golden, and while she's like that, she's just completely immune. She's armored overall, like that whole time she's like that is armored. And what you can do is tag out and it freezes the timer. So you'll just have an armored assist until she dies or until she comes back in and and the timer runs out. So I feel like she has enough things going on where I can say the whole character is just unique as hell. So Shinko, of course, is gonna make it here. I want to put her as number 1, but somebody else gotta take that spot. Susano from Blazblue and unlocking moves. So if you don't play Blazblue, it has some of the most unique fighting game characters I've probably seen, so expect to see a lot of Blazblue characters show up. But when it comes to Susano, it is so weird how they made him, and it's so lore accurate to the character, because from what I can tell, he seems like he likes holding back a lot. He'll hold himself back just to have a good fight. Kind of like Azrael, if you know him, with his tattoos that weaken him. But Susano's gameplay is so weird, because in the round start, he starts off with one special move, and it's not even a good one really, he just charges forward. But the way he plays is every hit of a combo puts a cursor on the screen. There's a cursor at the bottom of his drive meter, which is these 8 symbols, and every hit of your combo moves this cursor forward one, and then when you use one of his drive attacks, it'll activate that cursor, it'll activate that ability, which means you now have unlocked that special move, and then the cursor goes away, and you have to reset it. So that means every combo you do, it affects your entire gameplay and combo routing, because you need to unlock the moves you want, and you can't get access to your main combos or your preferred combos until you have the preferred moveset you need for the character. And then on top of that, some of the moves can be leveled up to do more damage and have different properties. So like that base move he starts off as is just a tackle. I think at level 2 it just does more damage, and at level 3 it does more damage, and it has a knockup effect, so you can combo off of landing it, and it's already a pretty fast move for how far it goes. So I think Susano alone, like the idea is so cool that, okay, this character is cracked, but you have to get to his full potential. I feel like it inspired Jamie a little bit from Street Fighter 5, not Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6. I feel like he's kind of inspired by it, but I could be completely wrong. But Susano had to be on the list for Blazblue this time. Don't worry, like I said, Blazblue's gonna be sticking around, but for right now, that's gonna be it for me when it comes to unique mechanics. Let me know what you thought of this video, if you think I did better than the first one, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset with some of the things I did when I looked back at the first one, but I'm trying to get better. Let me know, like I said, any suggestions for characters. I already got one character planned for the next one, so if you got any other ones, let me know while I'm making it. But that's gonna be it for me, True Kingston, and I'm out.